Hello. The terrorists reveal their own sources and methods, and one point that is obvious is that terrorism begets terrorism. Terrorists create terrorists, and terrorism without is created by terrorism within. And the terrorists without use things like, the internet and Al Jazeera. They have terrorist training camps. They have social networks and ways of communicating. They reveal themselves, plainly. The terrorists within use things like the idea of a two-party system in which there's always going to be friction in a unified democracy. E pluribus unum has no place in a two-party system, whether it's Republicans versus Democrats, or males versus females, or gays versus straights, or blacks versus whites, or pro-choice versus pro-life, or anything and everything that can be divided as, for instance, humanity, one thing divided into male and female. The terrorists within our borders will use that because people want to believe that they are part of the system. They want to believe that they belong, and therefore the system that is divided, they also must be divided. This is not the case. And so if you take up arms in resistance against the system that created you, you become Al-Qaeda. That is what Al-Qaeda is. The CIA is the source of Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda is the source or the method of the CIA. And the reason why people like Bob Woodward and Al Jazeera can get by with leaking information to terrorists or by terrorists is because it's all part of the same plan. To use the corporate-run media, the corporate-run governments, the corporate-run terrorists to get everybody riled up against each other so that nobody pays attention to the real sources and methods of what's going on, even though they're out in the open. And if one is not part of this system, then this system does not actually exist because it must be participated in through sleep, being unawake. And so when one is awake, that which is called the system doesn't actually exist, so there's nothing to resist. So to resist the system, you must believe that it exists. Bradley Manning proves this system doesn't actually exist. You have to be asleep to participate in it and believe in it. If Bradley Manning hadn't revealed the sources and methods of the terrorists, then he also would have been a terrorist. He would have been guilty of aiding and abetting the enemy. But instead, he became a whistleblower. He became an example of exposure. And through this, the terrorists revealed themselves. They didn't have to. Their cover was not blown. It was a system of fraud and abuse, but not an implication of complete fraud, waste, and abuse. And so they could have gotten away with it, but they chose to expose themselves because they are the terrorists. They heard their name called and they stood up and answered. And this is where the New World Order gets reclaimed, because we no longer have to participate in that, and we can actually create something new and not same old, same old. Thank you.